in this Gold Cup? Because we know, obviously, the obligation, whether you're Mexico, whether you're the U.S. men's national team, it's the obligation to at least make it to the final. But with this long list of injuries, Herc, does Mauricio Pochettino get a free pass?
A free pass?
If it doesn't happen?
Well, listen, Mauricio Pochettino was on the Unfiltered podcast with Landon Donovan and Tim Howard a few days ago. It came out, and they asked him if he would prioritize identifying players this tournament, given that they don't have that many players that were in last World Cup or that are considered A players, or winning. And Mauricio Pochettino did not hesitate. He said winning. I think that speaks more about the mentality he wants to instill, the culture he would like to start here, but I don't think they have the roster to win. That said, I've been in this very same studio, I've been in this very same show after the U.S. men's national team has won with the C team against Mexico's A team in a very pro-Mexican crowd in Las Vegas, Nevada. 1-0 Miles Robinson goal with guys like Matthew Hoppe, with guys, Chris Pines on that roster, and guys who are nowhere near the national team picture today, a C team, and they've won this tournament. That was at the beginning of the fall of the past 5 years, which is considered one of the darkest times in Mexican soccer history. Unfortunately for the United States, they just don't have to worry about Mexico. You've got a team in Canada that is, if not one of the favorites, the favorite in my eyes, that is very well coached with Jesse Marsch, that has playmakers all over, up and down that spine, world-class players. A player like Jonathan David who's going to make a massive transfer soon. They've got talent like most teams wish they had in this competition. So can they win it? I've seen crazier things. Am I betting on the United States to win? Absolutely not. I value the money I make.
Period.
Listen, the truth is, given what happened in the CONCACAF Nations League, I'm not sure that Mauricio Pochettino has that many free passes left.
Right.
In all honesty. Now, had that tournament gone differently, maybe we could be having a different conversation around.
What do you mean by that free pass? Like, what's going to happen?
Well, I'm just using Christina's phrasing here.
That's what I want to get clear, because
So my point is, Mauricio Pochettino was brought in with an expectation.
Correct.
An expectation, given his record, his reputation, his working with European players. Given the amount of money that he's on, the expectation is, especially with the U.S. as a host next summer, that this team gets to, I'm going to say the expectation when he was hired is that this U.S. team gets to the semifinal in 2026.
Let me interrupt both of you, because speaking of expectations, this is what Mauricio Pochettino himself said about expectations when it comes to this upcoming Gold Cup, saying we are extremely excited to work with this group of players and compete for the championship. Of course, our priority is to win the tournament and to show the right mentality and approach, and we are confident these players will take advantage of that opportunity. And that's the beauty of it, right? That's the silver lining of so many injured players, or even your most important players being out, Jeff, because it gives the opportunity to those that we don't get to see regularly maybe appear when we didn't expect them to. Is this what Mauricio Pochettino should be expecting after what we just heard?
Well, I think it's what he has to expect. I don't think he's left with a lot of options here. I mean, he has the players that he has. And fortunately for him, he's seen a few of them up close. He's seen Diego Luna and what he can do and how he responds to adversity with the broken nose and the blood all over his face. And so I think, I think there are other players too that are going to get a look. You've got a Paxton Aronson. You've got a Quinn Sullivan. You've got Brendan Aronson kind of working his way back into the team. Sebastian Berhalter gets a chance that, let's face it, 12 months ago, no one was banking on him getting. But to his credit, he's turned in some great performances with Vancouver, especially in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So I think that's what, if you're Mauricio Pochettino, you've got to recalibrate. You got to recalibrate, maybe not your expectations in terms of results, but in terms of who is going to step up and who is going to help deliver those results. So I think that's what he's got to do. And in some ways it's exciting, but like I said, I don't think he has a choice in a lot of ways.
Can I defend Mauricio Pochettino for a second?
Sure.
If I'm Mauricio Pochettino's lawyer, if I'm defending him on this, I'm going to say,
free pass.
no, Greg Berhalter put up a roster with 25 European players out of 26. Christian Pulisic, Giovanni Reina, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. The list goes on and on. When has Mauricio Pochettino had his A team? When has Mauricio Pochettino had all the pieces at his disposal? When has Mauricio Pochettino said, I have Anthony Robinson, I have Serginho Dest, I have Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, and Christian Pulisic, and a 9 on the field at the same time? When can he say? He can't say that. So I think it's not a pass, but it's a reality. Mauricio Pochettino has not played with a full deck. A lot of that you can argue is his doing, okay?
Yeah.
But he can't help that Serginho Dest gets injured. He can't help that there is no clear number two behind Chris Richards. He can't help that Tyler Adams is just coming back from injury, or that the 9s haven't sorted themselves out, or that Ricardo Pepi gets injured, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He can't help those things. So he's not had the full deck.
And on top of that, you've got the Club World Cup kind of throwing a monkey wrench into the preparations.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, I think when Mauricio Pochettino took this job, he wasn't expecting that, the most important tournament before the World Cup, I'm going to be without Weston McKennie, Tim Weah, Gio Reyna.
Johnny Cardoso, possibly.
Possibly Johnny Cardoso if he completes that move to Atletico Madrid. So, yes, I mean, he's been dealt a tough hand, but the good coaches make the most of these tough situations, and I think that's one of the challenges that he's going to be facing in this tournament.
And maybe it's ideal timing that he's facing this sort of problem right now, to be able to have a very clear picture when it comes to the World Cup and have that depth that you so need, right, in a Gold Cup, but especially when we're talking about a World Cup mainly on your territory.